doing it. So that's it, guys. And then we did see that Moonbirds and Proof are down even further. After I did get quite a lot of comments, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was news that, they said at in the beginning of 2025, so in less than 2 years' time, in one of their town halls, they said that they will no longer be giving anything or no longer be forced to give anything to proof holders. So basically putting an expiry date on utility, right? And now we've seen that they've cancelled their conference. They were going to have the conference. A lot of people were really looking forward to that. Remember, Proof and Moonbirds was very much an ecosystem about getting to know other people, networking, community of high end people that are good contacts and things to have, right? And so on and so forth. So we've seen here that they've cancelled that. Kevin has apologized, but he says that he won't be having it. That there wasn't much demand for their conference. Now, there were a lot of things here. First of all, they were charging an absolute fortune for the ticket. Even if you held an asset from the ecosystem, there was a charge, even though it was slightly less. But, the truth is that I don't know what's happened to Kevin. I mean, we do know that I've got my own feelings on the matter. I'm not here to bring down anyone. My pure thing is to say how I feel. My loyalty lies with the viewers, and I have no fear or favor of anyone in the space, which is a nice position to be in. I don't owe anyone anything, and I'm happy to say how I feel. My inkling, my inkling. We know that Kevin's got hacked for a huge amount of money, like millions of dollars. He lost a fortune of NFTs about a month or two ago. And since then, he sort of seems like he's not interested. I think and I can understand this. I think that he's fed up with the space. I mean, can you imagine building $2 million portfolio of assets, right? Anyone watching this believes that NFT is an asset. A lot of people in the world don't. And all of a sudden, in one click, having it completely stolen from you, years of building up a portfolio. Can you imagine if that happened with your stock portfolio? Or if you went into your bank account and overnight there was nothing there, and it was taken from you with no recourse, right? You'd be pissed off with that bank, or you'd be pissed off with the stock market or whatever. And I think that's what happened here. I think he wants out. I think he wants out of the space. And we've seen a couple of things since that happened. So the first thing was, like I said, him putting an expiry date, even though there was no mention of that before. The second thing now we're seeing is one of their biggest things. Their conference has been cancelled, officially cancelled. And the third thing that we saw is that they were looking for someone now to take over some of Kevin's roles. They're actively looking for people to run certain things in Discord and the public side of it, which all says to me someone who's trying to take a step back, right? But I mean, people are really, really upset. I mean, this guy had a moonbird tattooed on his arm, and he's saying that's the only thing permanent that he's going to have left of the whole thing. And you can understand why. Here they were promised certain things. The conference was one of them, and unilaterally that's been taken away. It reminds me of the same way that they did it, to be very blunt, with the CCO. In the very, very beginning, Moonbirds on their website, when you bought one, said that you have the rights to that image. And unilaterally, he himself went and said, oh, sorry, we've made it, not sorry, we've decided to make it CCO. Meaning all of a sudden, this picture that I thought was just mine can be on any Chinese clothing brand or anywhere. Anyone can use it. And I have, as the owner of this image, have no right on it. And for me, that was when I got out of the ecosystem. Those who were following me then would have known, and that didn't sit well with me. But so we've seen this continue, just canceling things unilaterally, yeah, definitely going as the thumbnail says, from bad to worse in the proof ecosystem, unfortunately. All right, from bad news to good news, we've got Pudgy Penguins who are making all the right moves. We saw that they're sitting at 5.5 Ethereum. They're sitting higher than Doodles at the moment. They're sitting higher than Clone X, which is absolutely incredible. So the latest news, the latest catalyst of a whole lot of different catalysts that Luca Nets, their new founder of the last year, has had, is that they will be launching using Retail Monster, who's got a huge experience in toys and physical collectibles. They've partnered with Retail Monster. Let's play you this video. to be able to get Pudgy Penguins toys into toy stores, similar to what we're seeing with VFriends, with VFriends using their IP to create merchandise and toys, and really build a brand around their characters. And we're now seeing the exact same thing happening over here, which is great to see. Really, really bullish and really good. And we have seen that the floor price has increased since then. They're going on to say, with the network spanning major retailers and representing brands like Disney and DreamWorks, we're ecstatic that Retail Monster will be on this journey with us, help us make Pudgy Penguins into a household name, and really bringing the Pudgy Penguin IP to the masses. Retail Monster will also serve as our licensing agent and will provide Pudgy Penguins with licensing opportunities for their extensive connections of world-class brands, bringing more and more of your penguins to life. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to their website. And if you jump on their website over here you see Retail Monster. And here you can see some of the brands that they represent: Crayola, U2's, Gearbox, Emoji, Electronic Arts, and so on and so forth. So really bullish, really good to see. I think it's, anytime a brand or company or NFT project in this case sees where their strengths are versus their weaknesses and says, you know what, we aren't in the toy game, but we want to be in the toy game. Let's partner with a massive name in the space, a retail partner who's got huge experience and connections in retail stores and building brands and IP out. Let's partner with them and let them run with it on that side. Obviously, we will have our own guidance and our way of doing it, but let's partner with them. That's not our strength. Let's focus on our strengths. And I do think that that's really important, and for any company to do, NFT or otherwise. And it's good to see Pudgy Penguins has done that. We did see with Cool Cats trying to become a gaming company, how that hasn't worked for them to date. It would have been much more bullish, like they have done now, is to partner with a gaming company, which they have done recently, but they try to do it on their own for a year. Whereas Pudgy Penguins from the beginning, look, we're not doing our merch, we're not, retail experience in retail. We're going to partner with Retail Monsters in order to do that. So yeah, I think that's cool, and we've seen the floor price make a big change as a result of that. Something else that I found really interesting. So we've got the Titanic. We all know that movie. I mean, I don't know, maybe just me because of my age, but when I was, I think, about 15 or 16, the Titanic came out and it was the biggest movie that everyone spoke about and watched and whatever. Either way, before the movie, there was a ship called the Titanic, a beautiful ship, the biggest and best of its type, that hit an iceberg and sunk. Just to give you guys a bit of background. Well, now they've come and they've got some real life artifacts from the real Titanic that are left, things that were found in the shipwreck. And they're going to be minting those artifacts as NFTs and launching a collection of 5,555. So that's really, really cool. To see that, that there's a use case for NFT technology. It's not the first time that we've seen physical items being linked to NFTs. We have seen that various times. I mean, famously with Nike, with their Murakami shoes, but also a lot of, I've seen it with alcohol companies, that your NFT represents a small ownership in a very expensive bottle of whatever vintage wine or whatever it may be. So definitely not the first, but definitely quite cool to see that they're doing that. So here's the summary of it. Venture Small Finance Holdings will structure the tokenization of the IP linked to the artifacts. NFTs will be offered to accredited investors to fund ongoing research, preservation, recovery, licensing, and exhibition of the assets. Holding an NFT will offer you exclusive benefits, including access to seminars with historians, VIP events, and exhibitions. It will also provide a means to interact digitally with other RMST content. Beyond that, they're still planning a Titanic DAO to welcome members to the community and get their input as well. So yeah, definitely going into Web3 quite big, and yeah, very good to see. I like to see it. In some not so bullish news, we've got a federal judge ruling that NBA Top Shots is or was indeed a security. Now, this is a landmark ruling. We're still being so new to the space, unsure of what the legislation is around them. Are NFTs securities or not? Are NFTs that have a token launched with them or alongside them more so securities or not? We really don't know. And we're waiting for guidance. We're waiting for case law to really see whether they are or not. So here we know that NBA Top Shot was on the Flow blockchain. Now the blockchain was or is a private blockchain by Dapper Labs. Um, and it's now been ruled by this federal judge that NBA Top Shot wasn't, the NFTs themselves were indeed securities. Um, So yes, I mean, this is not great for the space. I'm not sure whether they can appeal this or not, so I'm not sure how high it's gone or not. But the investors claim that under federal law, the NFTs do constitute a security, and the court found that Top Shot Moment NFTs constituted an investment contract and therefore are securities. Also, furthermore, according to the court, Dapper Labs has devised a plan in which they guaranteed investors profits. The profits were guaranteed, in inverted commas, by selling NFT packs at lower prices and advertising the significant profits made by others through the sale of the NFTs on Dapper Labs marketplace. The court further said that investors dependent on Dapper Labs' managerial efforts to develop the marketplace and maintain the blockchain, since the NFTs would not exist without these efforts. How did Dapper Labs react? Dapper Labs argued that NBA Top Shop NFTs were not securities, as the buyer controlled their own portfolio, so the buyer made a decision over which NFTs to buy and trade and when. Still, the court rejected this argument as Dapper Labs have control over it because it's their own blockchain. What does this mean for NFTs? As I said, it's a significant ruling for the NFT space because private blockchains have become most popular for businesses, and this ruling shows that there are potential risks. Private blockchains pose security risks for fundraising and issuing of tokens, and companies offering NFTs need to consider whether their offering will be subject to security laws. Finally, the ruling highlights the need to comply with security laws when offering tokens on a private blockchain. So yeah, I mean, again, we early guys, and this sort of stuff does need to be hashed out, and we need to know, whether or not it will be considered a security or not, and what makes it considered a security. And here we do have a lot of that. We see that because it was their own blockchain, their own private blockchain, and marketplace, that there was tokens released to them, that there was the promise of a future reward at a higher price than what you paid. All of these things made it a security. I think it does give a lot of people insight into the way that the courts will look at this, and it will help projects to be able to say, okay, you know what, let's not launch it with our own token, or let's not launch it on our own marketplace, or whatever it may be, or private blockchain, but to avoid it being a security, or let's just comply with it as a security. It's okay if something's a security. You just have to follow security law with it and make sure that it's adhered to. Yes, there's more red tape, but that's okay. So, just know what you're dealing with and decide accordingly. So, yeah, we're definitely learning as we go along. Another person learning is the YouTube has got a new CEO. But the nice thing is that Neil Mohan is a big NFT bull. He has previously outlined potential use cases for NFTs on the leading video platform YouTube, which we've said for a very, very long time. I mean, I've got videos dating back over a year saying how amazing blockchain technology would be for YouTube. You can even search it on my space. So nice to see that he agrees. And I also for music, I've been saying that for a very long time because we all know that when music went from CDs to MP3s, and artists lost out on their royalties, similar to what we're seeing now with NFT artists losing out on their royalties. But the blockchain really can solve that, with music. If it's written into the contract that every single time that song or video is played, that the creator gets a percentage, and that's in the contract of the smart contract, there's no way that every time it's played that someone won't get that, right? As long as that smart contract is written properly, and airtight, then that would solve piracy in the video and music industry. So yeah, very interesting to see. We know that Susan, who served as YouTube CEO for 25 years, and has done incredibly well in building a massive media company, that arguably will, has taken over mainstream media, and even if you don't agree has done that yet, will do in the next 10 to 15 years for sure. Has now stepped aside, and yeah, we now have Neil Mohan coming in, and it's just nice to see that he is bullish on NFTs, and that he does see the use case and understands the technology, which is really cool and nice to see. All right, guys, well, that pretty much covers it